It's TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And the countdown to the World Championship is continuing rapidly, and lots of questions being raised about that, but also Hex talking about some interesting things with regards to Optic Chicago and why exactly their, well, CDL signatures aren't in the game right now and weren't last year either on the Huntsman. And tweet your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always. I greatly appreciate it. Really up to the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, certainly still some questions being raised about the World Championship weekend in LA. Modern Warzone says right here, decided to, cancel those plans due to the uncertainty surrounding the event. But, as the days ticks down, they've got to do something if they are going to do anything about this event. Reportedly, apparently, the champs, the playoffs, or whatever, currently based in LA, are reportedly going to have a skeleton crew. Wasn't exactly sure what that meant, but we'll have a look at it here in just a second. Due to the recent concerns, no word at this time on whether fans are going to be there or not, right? But, the idea of that being that there's the bare minimum of staff, the minimum number of personnel needed to operate. So kind of the idea, like, to keep the vital functions operating, which doesn't necessarily give the best sign in the sense that, okay, yeah, if you're just keeping the vital functions underway at the World Championship, then that maybe doesn't mean there's going to be fans there or whatever, but at least I guess it still does mean that it's going to be on LAN, which is, I guess, the minimum we would at least expect, but hopefully everything goes ahead as planned. Just not sure how likely that is to happen at this point, given all the discussion there's been on Twitter these last couple of days from the casters, from all these other people around the scene as well. So with any luck, things will work out to be okay, but, well, as Scump says right here, brings a tear to my eye, the phenomenal event that was the Stage 5 Major, and, maybe if things don't go to plan, people might end up looking back at this Stage 5 Major like the actual World Championship in a sense. They did have advance there and there was a fantastic venue, and well, hopefully things will go ahead as planned, because we were hoping that the Stage 5 Major would just be a nice little prelim to what was going to be a phenomenal World Championship. With any luck, that'll still be the case, but still some questions being raised over these last several hours or so, and of course with Scump on the screen we are going to be talking about their, well, exactly what's going on with Optic Chicago, right, these last several months. Thought this is interesting as well, right, with Champs just around the corner, that Scump's career KD at Champs is very impressive indeed. I think in World War II he had like just under a 1 or something along those lines, but in pretty much every single title apart from that, even for some reason the CDL didn't put Black Ops 4 in this one, but even in Black Ops 4 he had a really phenomenal KD, like a 1 point, almost like a 1.2 or something in that game, so he was very deadly as well, but way back in Black Ops 2 at 1.2, Ghost had a 1.13, Advanced Warfare had a 1.3, which was just ridiculous, one of course in Infinite Warfare and Black Ops 3, not too bad either, so the Scump of course does tend to turn up in the latter half of the year, but this is what Hex was talking about with MarkyB on the Eavesdrop podcast a couple of days ago. Lots of discussion with regard to, okay, what exactly the CDL and Activision could do better to help promote Call of Duty competitive within the game itself. So yes, there's the really cool stuff they've got in Warzone when they've got the banners of the winners around the stadium, but there's still probably more they could do, right? And there's some discussion around, okay, yeah, they do put some stickers in the game, there's some other things they could do as well. But the question is really, when the signatures have come out these last couple of seasons, for both last season and this season as well, for some reason Huntsman and Optic weren't involved, and we were speculating why that was the case. Maybe, well, we kind of thought, okay, whatever cuts the CDL teams get maybe isn't enough for what Hex is wanting, and maybe thinks that, okay, they're contributing more to the sale of these packs, therefore they want a higher percentage or something. But what Hex is talking about right here is that effectively they don't get anything at all, and if they actually paid us at all, then the guys would be involved, but he doesn't want to put their logo and their stickers and signatures of the players in the game if they're not getting anything in return. And just maybe another one of these examples about the developer, right, the publisher, sorry, in Activision has just so much power over everything right now, and I mean, maybe they can just even take all the money themselves, and X as a result is like, look, I'm not putting my guys' signatures in the game.
There's so much they could do, realistically. Yeah. There's like so many different things that they could do to, push viewership and a lot of different things, and I think that it's not new technology at the end of the day, so I think that 100% a lot of these things need to change going forward. Like, it's not gonna work if we keep doing this, I
don't have a creator code, nor do I don't play enough to deserve one, but I do deserve to be on the mailing list so I can get my collectible stuff. The fact that you guys are sending collectibles to, no offense, right, to people who have 50,000 subs on YouTube, and you're not sending me, that I've been here since Call of Duty 2 and I've done a lot for the scene, like, it's offensive, and I'm mad, goddammit, I'm mad. Where I was going with that is like player signatures, for example, right? Like, I think that the economics for players and giving them an ability to make more money, like, that's better. The signature stuff, like, I didn't want my dudes to do it because they weren't gonna get a piece of that. And I'm like, I'd rather not go down this route again like we did in Advanced Warfare, where I had to fight my ass off to get something back for my logo to be in Call of Duty. So yeah, we got 19, I think a total 19 white exoskeletons just for the team, and that was cool. But at the same time, I'm like, you know, it's time to share a little bit more into this thing, right? Like we're putting in millions, tens of millions of dollars into this thing, and we're still struggling for certain things.
So this is what he's talking about way back to Advanced Warfare with regard to the kind of exosuits they had. This, I think, was only like one of the versions. There was like the white one that he was talking about. I think he's mentioned it before that there was some like altercation that he had or the other teams had with Denial, because Denial Esports at the time, as soon as maybe like the CWL and the MLG and Activision guys were proposing to have something like this in the game itself, Denial were like straight on the bandwagon saying, yeah, we'll do it. We'll like, you know, do whatever you want to make it happen. Whereas Hex was like, look, hang on a second. If my you know, logo is going to be in the game, I want to get it reimbursed for that, right? So trying to come to an appropriate arrangement where they could have some cool optic stuff in the game, but also they were, you know, appropriately reimbursed. And that's the thing that Hex is talking about right here, which is really interesting, to be honest, with regard to the player stickers, or like the, you know, the player signatures, right, which haven't been in the game the last couple of years, the optic ones. There has been some optic logos in the game that we'll look at here in a second, but not as much as maybe there could be, and some of the other teams have gone down the route of. So that's what I find kind of interesting, especially when he's saying, look, if we actually got paid for these, and that my guys actually got paid and reimbursed for their, you know, their signatures in the game and stuff, then I'd be more than happy to actually go down that route. But yeah, whatever the situation is, right, because there's been some discussion, okay, is it just because that the cut isn't enough for the optic guys that want to take, or does Activision just taking everything, right? Because at the end of the day, he says towards the end of that clip, look, we need to get some reimbursement here. We're putting all these millions of dollars into the league, and for some reason, you know, they're not giving back as much as they could do. There's no trophies, right, for even the events, right? The Stage 5 Major had no trophy in it. It's like, what is even going on at this point? And especially because they don't even seem to want to reimburse the players for putting their own content into the game itself, which is maybe, I don't know, kind of surprising, to be honest. And this is, of course, what happened last year in 2020. So there was the Champs Pack, there was the Team Supporter Pack that had all the signatures, apart from the Huntsman ones, had the calling cards, the emblems and stuff. So the calling cards, the emblems, the sprays for the teams and the camos and stuff, those are in the game and have been in the game on the optic side. So maybe they get reimbursed for those, but for some reason the signatures, it doesn't seem to be happening. So we saw, of course, last year, these signatures came into the game, the Cellium one, the Huke one, the Zuma one, the Octane one right here, ahead of the World Championship last year. And they've been in this game even ahead of the World Championship, right? Which I guess is something of a step in the right direction for the CDL. So congratulations on all fronts, you know, on that front of things. But still, this year, it was a very similar story, right? Where we see this comes into the game. So there was a Team Supporter Pack that had, well, the 12 emblems, the 12 calling cards, and player signatures for 11 teams. So really interesting, right, when this did initially come out, okay, you've got the Optic Chicago Supporter Pack, and okay, you've got the logo and all this type of stuff in the game, and the green wall type stuff, but you don't have the player signatures in the game, which are the things that actually, well, would be maybe better, right, to have on people's weapons. So it's interesting that Hex is okay with having the logo and stuff, maybe they get reimbursed for that, but on the player sticker side, it doesn't seem to be happening, right, which is very strange. I'm not really sure, like, exactly what their thought process is behind this, and the other teams seem to be perfectly okay with it, and the Optic guys, you know, are going to value their signatures, I guess, more in that sense, and the content that they can put out into the game. So maybe they can come to some sort of arrangement over the coming years, but it just does surprise me, to be honest, the fact that this seems to happen, and it's Optic 2 years in a row, but Activision don't seem to have changed their policies or the way they want to negotiate on these issues, because it probably would help sell some more packs, right, and then maybe they just want something in return to some of these CDL teams, at least, even though the other ones seem to have kind of got on with it in a sense. We did also see, right, these, you know, the Optic cards potentially coming soon. This was quite a while ago now, the fact that these Upper Deck, you know, logo and stuff in Hex's story. This is way back in March now. So it's been several months since we've had any news about this from the Upper Deck side, whether there's actually going to be cards coming into the game or like outside of the game collectible type stuff that they could do. Pretty sure the Overwatch League has something like this, but hasn't materialized yet clearly for the CDL. And you know, who knows what happens going forwards? It's tough to say, but it's still kind of surprising it's been so long and nothing really seems to be changing. And of course, with all the, I'm sure they're dealing with a lot of issues right now on the CDL side. We're dealing with this whole, you know, the World Championship, what that's even going to look like. The lawsuit as well from the California side of things as well is not exactly ideal for them. So yeah, big questions to be answered going forwards, but maybe Optic will be involved in this, maybe they won't. If there's some sort of reimbursement, which clearly they seem to be pretty interested in, especially because, as you can see right here, most watched teams of the Call of Duty League 2021, Optic Chicago are up here at number 1, Dallas Empire 2, Ultra, FaZe, and Subliners. So, you know, of course, this is our most popular teams in terms of hours watched, so almost 5 million hours watched for Optic. Then it goes down against Dallas. Of course, this comes down down to some degree to what are generally the best teams. They're going to make it further in the tournaments, therefore they're going to play against the other better squads in the more important matchups, therefore they're going to get higher viewership, but also maybe they're more likely to play Optic in the later stages of tournaments, and therefore those games are going to have more views as well. So interesting to see nonetheless, but of course I'm sure Hex is looking at this and he knows this full well, and is like, well look, if you're not willing to reimburse us as Optic Chicago and our players for what they do for the scene, then yeah, we're not actually going to give you our stickers in the game, and therefore you're going to lose revenue in that sense. So we'll come to a better arrangement, and then we might have things, better going forward. It does really surprise me that Activision seems to be so set in stone on these issues and doesn't really want to move or, bend to anyone's discussion or will or anything along those lines. And this I thought was pretty interesting to finish out the video as well, in terms of viewership per stage. So this I think is the peak viewership for every single stage. So stage 1 peaked at like 131,000 viewers. This is the regular stage rather than the major. We'll look at it in the major in a second. But yeah, stage 1, stage 2, this is generally how things go. At the start of the season, things are very hyped and very excited, and towards the end as well, things get a little bit better as well. Obviously, it depends like who Optic are playing in their group, whether there's going to be a cracking matchup. This is probably the Optic versus FaZe one right here. But yes, generally that's the way it goes, and that's really why I think a lot of people would like to see if the season started a bit earlier than it does, right? Because then, okay, you can get stage 1 actually kicking off maybe like December time or something, when there's even more hype and more excitement, and to kind of drag out those peak viewership figures for a little bit longer. So this is the regular stage stuff. Then you've got the majors right here. You can see that actually the recent stage 5 major on air for a lot longer than some of the earlier ones. Stage 4, stage 5 major on LAN, that probably means things are going to take a little bit longer to take over. But yeah, still the stage 3 major was the highest viewed, at least in terms of peak viewership. I think this might have been the Optic versus Ultra match that was going on at the time, 135,000 viewers. So even now that stage 5 major, how good as it was, it only peaked at 114,000. Some of this I think is down to like where the time zones are, to be honest, because sometimes it can be tough as a European viewer to get on this and watch it late at night and that type of stuff. But yeah, the stage 1 major as well, also certainly up there. Where will the World Championships fit on this? Hopefully it'll be pretty high and break all these records, as it usually tends to do, if well, at least if everything goes to plan as we'd like it to. But intriguing your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. Really helps out the YouTube algorithm. I know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thanks for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.